surprises in the world.
Do y'all think it's a good idea or a bad idea for the new schools to come in with Texas and Oklahoma? Because I feel like this is a dangerous situation, because if you bring the new schools in, right, and you play Texas and Oklahoma, they beat the brakes off of all four schools and bail to the SEC. What does that say about your new conference?
I mean, I think it could just as easily, at least for 50% of those teams in Texas, work out badly. Because we don't know, we don't know really what Oklahoma's going to be, although I think they're better positioned to be really good than Texas is, But yeah, I think it's fine to me. Bring them in, let them.
Well, that's what they should do. I mean, they're the big bad boys. So I mean, yeah, you would think that that's a matter of the probability that Texas and OU beat UCF or Cincinnati or BYU or whoever. But then again, I mean, that's what they should do. But there is that question of whether they can or not. But yeah, I've thought about that. I mean, I guess it gives them some semblance of bragging rights that they beat teams that they should have beaten to begin with, and they already think they're above anyways. But there's just as much of a chance that it goes the opposite, and they go on the way to the SEC with losses to Cincinnati and BYU and UCF and Houston. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, though. I've thought about that of, kind of who gets the last laugh when all is said and done. And I'm curious of how many of those teams do they actually play in the next couple of years? I mean, they're not playing them this year, obviously. So next year, 2023, do they play 1, 2, 3? They play all 4 of them in their last couple of years. Do they play any of them in their last couple of years? I mean, you think they'd play at least 1 or 2, bare minimum. But yeah, I mean, there'll be some temporary laughs, but then, you can laugh all the way you want to the SEC, and you'll still laugh on top of the big pile of money that you'll make. But I don't know how much you're going to be laughing when you suddenly start that new schedule, though. So it may be their last time to laugh for a little while, for all we know.
Well, and look, BYU's beaten both Texas and Oklahoma in the last decade or so.
Jaron Hall's good. He's not Taysom Hill. But.
No, but yeah. Yeah, that's true. But it's happened. BYU's coming in. The schedule they played the last few years, not afraid of anybody. So Cincinnati, we'll see how they respond to being as good as they've been the last couple years. A lot of those guys are gone, but you would figure that Luke Fickell has some recruiting momentum to build off that. Plus, now with going into the Big 12, when those guys are going to be upperclassmen, they'll be in a Power 5 league. UCF is in Gus Malzahn's rebuilding that team right now, and I'm leaving. And Houston is good. Houston's good, So, yeah, I would assume that we're going to see Texas and Houston play at least once.
I would if I was the Big 12. Yeah, but then again, I know that, I would make it in Houston too. Yeah. I'd put that bad boy in Houston and make UT play there. Why not? I mean, I think you're looking for the most intriguing matchups. And, yeah, I just don't know how they feel about, what are key games we must get done or on the schedule before those two bolt. Do we need to? I think we should see Texas and Houston in Houston. I think that would be a tremendous send-off. But do you want to see Oklahoma play BYU? Do you want to see Oklahoma play UCF? I don't know. I don't really know what they're thinking right now. They've obviously got a lot on their plate, and the whole division talk and all of that was put on pause because of, the recent move to deregulate the championship game. So that's another thing of they've probably had how many meetings on and not specifically meetings on divisions or pods, but they probably had how many conversations already? Even if it's a little bit of a ways away, you still have to get the groundwork laid, and then all of a sudden you have all those conversations, and here comes the NCAA of oh yeah, we're not even going to have regulations for championship games, so you don't even need divisions. Okay, well, scrap that, throw that away, start all over again. So I think that probably shifted their way of thinking a little bit, and to what direction, I don't know. As far as what pods would look like or divisions and setups and all of that, but a lot of different things that these guys and gals are all having to try to figure out at the administration level.
Yeah, I don't know, and do you have all the leagues are going to have different amounts of teams, and not that they always have, but now you're looking at. So they're going to have 14 and then 12, and then whatever their scheduling model is going to be for 2 years is going to completely change unless they want to do a dry run with it and see what happens. So, and then just kind of subtract 2, maybe add 4 down the line. I don't know. It's hard to predict, but Texas and Houston's got to be something you see. I would want to see it twice, but if you can have it twice.
Yeah,
but
you can. I mean, you can schedule anything you want. I mean, you can do whatever you want to if you're the Big 12. You're the ones that make the schedule. So, yeah, if they wanted to do that home and away with Houston and Texas, then that'd be cool. I'd be totally on board with that. If they want to do BYU Baylor's a regular thing, I'm cool with that. If they want to do whatever. I mean, I'm not picky when it comes to scheduling. Like, I mean, I think as far as, if you hit the big matchups, that's really what you got to focus on. If you make it as even as possible, you certainly don't want one team that's, going to have a far easier schedule than the others. I mean, and if you were to do that in an NFL style, then you'd give Kansas the easiest schedule possible. But, I mean, how easy can you really make it? I mean, you got to play 9 games, so there's not 9 throwaways there that you can really make it all that easy for anybody. But how do you sort that out? I mean, again, that's the puzzle that they're working on, and the puzzle that had some pieces taken away and some new pieces added about a week ago with the deregulation of the championship game. So, again, that changes all of what they were talking about previously, because now it's not, okay, what pods do we have to have or what divisions do we have to have? It's how do we want to crown a champion? And, how do we want to factor in these new teams for a couple of years? I mean, that's what we're all wondering, and it'll be very fascinating to see kind of when they come to that conclusion and how they come to that conclusion. And, I mean, here's the thing, too. Like, do you set it up for 2 years and then all of a sudden OU and Texas announce after next season that they're leaving?
Yeah.
Well, then what was the point? So I think they're just worried about the right now. I don't think, like, we're talking about divisions of pods. I don't think they're talking about it all that much at this point because of the recent announcement. I think they're looking at, all right, next year, the year after, we think this is what it's going to be. Let's figure that part out. And as far as post OU and Texas, like, that seems like 10 years from now. I mean, I know it's 2, less than 2, but it seems like it's about 10 years down the road because there's just so much coming at everybody at all times. And so I think they're kind of working on a 1 year at a time sort of deal right now.
Yeah, and look, as far as Texas and OU are concerned, when it comes to the Big 12 going, okay, this is the schedule for the next 2 years. You guys aren't leaving, right? That's not going to change. Well, you can't really trust what they say. And even if they believe they are, what's the new factor that comes in that says, well, they play 1 year and then bolt? I mean, not like they informed of their plans of this from the beginning anyway. So things can change so rapidly. Yeah, you have to do it like almost year to year.
Yeah, I mean, we have no idea what next year's going to look like. We have no idea. We have no idea what these TV deals are going to look like. We have no idea who's trying to get out of what situation they're in right now. We have no idea. We had no idea the transfer portal was going to be that it was. We had no idea that NIL would be this way. We had some idea, but like trying to forecast college football in 2 or 3 years is just kind of an empty exercise because there's no telling. I mean, there's absolutely no telling what it could look like. If you would have gone back 2 years from now, would you have predicted this currently? Would most people? What it's like at this moment?
No.
Getting rid of championship game regulations, NIL out the wazoo, transfer portals going nuts, 6th, 7th years for guys because of COVID and whatever. Like, none of us saw this coming. So to try and pretend like we even have any idea of what 2 years from now the environment's going to look like, I mean, shoot, for all I know, USC might be trying to get into the Big Ten 2 years from now. Yeah. For all I know, Oregon might be joining up with them to go to the Big Ten. For all I know, the Big Ten might, like, pull half the Pac-12 and then them and the SEC become the AFC and NFC. Like, I think anything's on the table, and I wouldn't be surprised to see any of it. So, I'm hesitant to go like, well, it's just going to be real simple. Like, we'll do our thing, and then they'll leave, and then we'll do this thing, and then it's just going to go on all smooth. Like, no, there's going to be some disruption or some other asteroid that comes and hits college football that rearranges things. And what that's going to be, I have no idea, but there'll be something. It's not going to just be smooth sailing from here on out. They don't have half their problems solved, and those problems may only become even bigger problems for certain people involved. So, I mean, I'm kind of not being pessimistic by any means. I think
you're being realistic.
I just think like what's next is what matters. Like what's in your face right now for college football administrators and officials is what matters the most, and they got to figure those problems out. Also with an eye on the future and what's coming down the line, because clearly they didn't do either of those things for the last 2 decades. But they got to solve the immediate problems first. And while they're doing that, take some steps to get ahead of the curve on what else might be coming, but always have one eye looking to the side or an eye in the back of your head for whatever unforeseen thing is coming. We didn't know a year ago OU and Texas were going to the SEC. We had no idea. At this point in time a year ago, we had zero clue that they were going to be doing that. So would another move like that be shocking? Absolutely not. And that would just obviously throw things for even more of a tailspin. So that's what's fascinating, frustrating, but also incredibly interesting and fascinating about college football is just how much it's changed, how much there is a desire to keep it the same, but knowing that it can't be the same and knowing that there's any number of factors that could make it even more wildly different than we thought possible.
All right, Jack, I think Garrett might need your help. I just sent you an Instagram